Hello and welcome. This is Matthias 76, and together we are decoding the deception. This video is a part 2 of a two-part. We did Revelation 12, looking at the woman and the great sign in heaven, the woman and the dragon. That is this video right here. I'm showing it to you on BitChute. I encourage you, find your video content on BitChute. It is where free speech reigns supreme. Subscribe to our channel on BitChute and make sure that you click that notification bell so that you are notified every time we put out new content. We put out new content every weekday, Monday through Friday. We're putting out new content. So this is what it looks like on BitChute. The link to this video I will put in the description. It's a great sign in heaven. It's good to listen to that video before this one, but if you don't, that's all right as well. So enough introductory matters. Let us jump in and continue looking at this great sign in heaven. Revelation 12, verse 4. His tail swept down a third of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child, he might devour it. She gave birth to a male child, one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. But her child was caught up to God and to his throne, and the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, in which she is to be nourished for 1,260 days. We're told about this dragon that his tail swept down a third of the stars of heaven and cast them to earth. Another thing about the mindset of the people of this day and the time in antiquity going back before them. They believed in many cultures that the stars, the planets, the sun and the moon, people worship the sun and the moon, right? They believed that they were deities, heavenly beings. That's what they believed. Many cultures believed they were, that you were seeing the representation of those deities, and that would vary from place to place exactly what they thought about it. But here we have this image of his tail sweeping down a third of the stars from heaven. That's included in the picture and the thumbnail I used for this video. But what does it mean? Some people want to say that it just has to do with his power, that he's mighty, and he is. He is, Satan is, and listen carefully, I don't want to lose you here. Satan is a divine being, meaning this: he is a spiritual being. The word God, theos, that's used in the Bible, Elohim in the Old Testament, theos in the New Testament, simply meant spiritual being. That's why it's very clear to call God King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He is God Most High, right? El Shaddai. He is God Most High. There were other spiritual beings. Satan was one of those. And he fell, and he took others with him. They're referred to as the B'nai Elohim, and they serve him, and they also are mighty and powerful. They are dangerous adversaries. He has a great deal of power there to work with. Others that followed him. And we could talk about Genesis 6:1-4. We could talk about the Deuteronomy 32 and the role that these beings played, but we're not going to go into that. I'm just trying to whet your appetite because we don't have time right now. But what does the dragon do? The dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child, he might devour it. Showed the picture, I'll put it up here again, of where that constellation was situated in the sky at the time of Jesus' birth, that great sign that was given. So we've got that astronomically, that's where the dragon was positioned. But we also have the fact that Satan went to work immediately trying to destroy the Christ. He wanted to pounce and do him in right away. And we have that in Matthew 2:16. Then Herod, a truly evil man, a great king, evil man, built an awesome temple. He was evil. Then Herod, when he saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, became furious, and he sent and killed all the male children in Bethlehem and in all that region who were 2 years old or under, according to the time that he had ascertained from the wise men. Herod, as is often the case, that the rulers in this world are doing the bidding of the Lord of hell and his other minions, the fallen ones. Herod, whether he knew it or not, was doing exactly that. Satan was using Herod to try to destroy the Christ before he ever got out of the crib, so to speak. Just as he used Judas. Who entered Judas? Satan entered Judas. He used Judas to try to undo Christ by putting him to death. And we could say, well, he won. He did. But he got duped. He got tricked. He did not know that in killing Christ, he gave him the ultimate victory. Let's read that reference. Paul in 1 Corinthians 2, verse 8 says this, "None of the rulers of this age understood this, for if they had, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory." So we continue with verse 5. "She gave birth to a male child, one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. But her child was caught up to God and to his throne." We'll stop there. So obviously, again, the virgin is the picture of both the Old Testament body of believers, the church that had been waiting for the Christ to come, but it is also a picture of the Virgin Mary, who gives birth to the child Jesus. And who is he? He is the one who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. Now here, that word rule is actually shepherd, and the two can be seen to be very closely related. A shepherd carries a staff in which he protects his sheep, but here it talks specifically about a rod of iron. This reference to a rod of iron is another one of John's ties to the Old Testament, and specifically Psalm 2, verse 9, a very clearly messianic psalm. And there we're told about the Messiah, about God's Son, who he will place on his holy hill on Mount Zion. Verse 9 of chapter 2 reads, "You shall break them with a rod of iron and dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel." And who is it he's going to dash to pieces? Who he's going to undo? Whom he will conquer? The psalm begins, "Why do the nations rage and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves," that's earthly rulers, "and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us burst their bonds apart and cast away their cords from us." Rulers talks about kings and rulers. Those rulers are the rulers in the heavenly realms that Paul talks about in Ephesians 6. So those are the ones that he is going to dash to pieces with his rod of iron. Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior, my Lord and Savior, laid waste to the plans of Satan through his life, his ministry, his suffering, his death, and his resurrection. In this section, back to Revelation 12, all of that is summarized with, "But her child was caught up to God and to his throne." It's not trying to give the short shrift to Jesus and his ministry, nothing like it. Rather, the focus in this section is on the church, the woman who gave birth to the Christ child. That is where the emphasis goes. And the woman fled into the wilderness. The saving event, the activity of salvation in the Old Testament is clearly the book of Exodus, with God freeing his children. It's there in Exodus. And after he freed them, laying low the gods of Egypt, as he said he would do in Exodus 12:12, after he had freed them, passed them through the Red Sea, they spent 40 years where? Where? In the wilderness. In the wilderness, where he sustained them, where he fed them with manna from heaven and quail, water from a rock. He provided for them miraculously there until they got to where? The promised land. So the woman fled to the wilderness, and he took care of her, where she has a place prepared by God. The imagery is the same. The New Testament church is provided for and cared for just the way the nation of Israel was provided for and cared for. She has a place prepared by God. As he was with them, so he is with us. He provided them his word through Moses and direct revelation there. He provided for them with manna and quail and water from a rock. So also he takes care of us. He provides for us through his word that sustains and strengthens us, through his sacraments and all of the blessings and grace and mercy that they bestow upon us. And how long was she there? She was there for 1,260 days. That's that number that is used to represent the time of the New Testament era, and that always refers to the time from Christ's ascension into heaven, 40 days after his resurrection, until he returns. When it's talking about that in relation to the forces of evil, and that is the context here, because it is the forces of evil that are pursuing the woman. It's going to talk about it in that 1,260 days, which equals 42 months, which equals 3.5 years, 3.5 being half of 7, like a broken covenant. That's the idea that we get from it. The church is taken care of, no matter what. And again, the theme of the book of Revelation, the overarching theme, Jesus always wins. He always wins. No matter what happens, no matter how things look, no matter how dire things might appear, Jesus always wins. And because Jesus always wins, we always win, because we are his church. And we may be in the wilderness, but we have a place prepared by God, and he is nourishing us throughout these 1,260 days. We're going to stop there. Next time, it's Satan thrown down to earth. Thank you for listening. I want to encourage you. Please subscribe. Please share these videos. That's how we get the word out. If you find this beneficial, please share it. We have playlists for the book of Revelation, for the book of Matthew, the book of Exodus, and the book of Joshua. We've got a lot of material out there for you to grow in your faith, your understanding of your walk with Jesus Christ. God bless, and have a great day. That concludes our broadcast for today. We publish our videos on YouTube, BitChute, and Brighteon. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give us a like or a thumbs up. We invite you to subscribe so you can continue to receive our content. Also, please consider sharing this video with others. We love to hear from you, so please leave a comment below. This is Matthias 76, and together we will continue to decode the deception.